what is going on, guys? NanoBits93 here with another video, and today we got a fun one. So a lot of people, especially over this last year, have picked up a new iPad, whether it is the 10.2 version or the highest end 12.9 iPad Pro 2020. And a lot of people, they're new to the iPad Pro game, and I figured I wanted to make a video that highlights 10 features, 10 tricks, 10 tips, whatever you guys want to call them, that I would consider extremely useful, but also pretty hidden within iPadOS. So that's what I'm going to talk to you guys about today. It's going to range from software tweaks to more physical ones or hardware tweaks that we can do to kind of help out everything, and also highlight some of the things that you didn't know the iPad could do that could be beneficial to you for both your personal and work life, guys. So let's hop right into the video. Let's get into it. The first feature that I want to highlight for you guys and bring up is the fact that you can now scan documents directly from the Files application with both your iPad and your iPhone at this point, or any iOS device. But I always like to highlight this because there are a lot of third-party applications that before iPadOS was released, they were charging people or you had to get a separate app, but now it's natively included within the Files app, and honestly, it's very, very good. It's a lot better than even dedicated scanner, like physical scanners that people buy at Best Buy or other hardware stores to scan documents. I like it a lot. I've used it multiple times to not only scan documents, but then annotate them live and then print them out again, or email them out, or PDF convert them. So that little feature is a must-know if you have an iPad Pro. Another interesting one has to be the fact that you could actually charge other devices from your iPad Pro. Now this one is exclusive to the iPad Pro because it's the only one that has a USB-C connector. So basically you just get a USB-C to Lightning cable and you can charge your iPhone on the go and use your iPad Pro, I guess, as a big battery bank if you're in a pickle. So I've used it before when I was out and about in New York. My iPad had like 100% battery, my phone had like 10% battery, so I just plugged it in. It charges up my phone extremely quickly because it does put out fast charging output. So I think you do get those 18 watts. Don't quote me on that. If you guys want to leave it in the comments below, let me know. But it does charge your phone extremely quickly. And next thing I knew, my phone was at 100% and my iPad battery was about 70% after that. So that's something to keep in mind, guys. You can use your iPad Pro as a charger for your other iDevices or any other devices, as long as you have a USB-C connector on one end. Another interesting one that I don't know if many people will be using this feature. I use it a lot more on my phone, obviously, than my iPad, but iPads have flash, guys, especially the iPad Pros. They have that same functionality that iPhones do, where you go from the control center, tap the flashlight button, and all of a sudden you got some light on the back of your iPad for whatever you need it for, whether it's to find something or use it for some sort of B-roll shot or something to light something else. But that's something to keep in mind that you probably didn't know the iPad had. The next thing I'm going to talk about is, now with the inclusion of iPadOS 13.4 and mouse support and keyboard support, you can now use those peripherals in different ways to access your device, right? So for instance, to unlock a device, normally you would have to tap on the screen or tap on a button on the iPad, make sure it recognizes your face, and then swipe up. Now, for instance, with the Magic Keyboard that I have attached to it, all I have to do is tap on the trackpad. It recognizes my face and either press the space bar or swipe up on the trackpad to unlock it for me. So those are other ways to make yourself more efficient when unlocking the iPad, especially because it is a touch-first interface. So you would think that you have to reach over, but now with the support of trackpads and keyboards, you can now just swipe up or press the space bar to unlock your iPad. And then another thing with iPadOS 13.4 and keyboard support is if you hold down the command key within any application, it'll bring out a list of every single command that you can do within that application to, again, make your life even that much more efficient when navigating through those applications and those different workflows, right? So for instance, with LumaFusion, I have all my commands pretty much memorized at this point, especially the main ones, and there's still a lot more to learn for different ones like Safari that I need to learn a little bit more. The Notes app I want to learn a little bit more, but those are really, really good to learn, especially if it's an application that you use very, very frequently. So all you have to do is hold down the command key and then all the different commands for that application show up for you. Another thing I want to teach you guys is how to access external storage, both physical external storage and cloud-based external storage. So that's what the beauty of the Files app is. The Files app is, yes, it holds not only your on-device storage, so whatever you save physically onto the iPad, but it also holds all your iCloud storage that you want. You can connect to OneDrive, you can connect to G Suite, you can connect to Dropbox, and I'm sure they're adding more support as time goes on for Box and other different cloud services, but you can do it all through the Files app. All you have to do is log in, and then all of that stuff, it doesn't sit on your iPad, so it doesn't take up space, but being able to access those files through the cloud services and then being able to physically download it and bring it down into your iPad is an awesome feature. So definitely take advantage of that. And then the same thing happens with physical external storage. So I have a RAV Power SSD that I plug into my iPad. Immediately the Files app recognizes it. It shows up in that same column where all the different storage avenues are, and then you have full access to whatever's on the SSD very, very easily, guys. So highly recommend playing with the Files app. I know it's been a big detriment to the iPad and one of the main reasons people refuse to move over to the iPad, but it has gotten a lot better and it's going to continue to get better. Although one thing that I do want to mention to you guys is never buy a tech product for the promise of something that's going to happen in the future. So right now the Files app is a lot better and I like it a lot. It's not all the way there to like what the Finder is or the Explorer app is on Windows, but it is getting better. It's easier to navigate, a lot easier to organize. So highly recommend playing with the Files app and you'd be surprised at how well it's come over the last few years. Another one that I want to mention to you guys is how to take a screenshot on the iPad. Normally with an iPhone, you just press, I think, volume up and the hold button to take a screenshot. For the iPad, you can do the same thing. You can hold the hold button or the lock button and the volume up, it'll take a screenshot. Awesome. But what you can also take a screenshot is by grabbing your Apple Pencil and dragging from the bottom left inwards, and then it'll take a screenshot of what you guys have right there. And if you're in Safari, for instance, and you have a large web page, then you can actually take a screenshot of the entire web page, and it's like a scrolling screenshot, and it's really, really nice, and you can annotate it and do whatever you need to do it live right there, so that's really, really nice to have. And then another cool one has to be the fact that now with iPadOS, we have MFI controller support, but not only that, but we have Xbox and PlayStation 4 controller support. So any controller that you've purchased before that's MFI rated or Xbox or PlayStation 4 controller that you have sitting around the house, you just connect it like you would connect it to that system itself. Hold down the pair button, let it start blinking, it'll show up on the actual settings of the iPad in the Bluetooth settings, and you connect it, and then whatever game supports MFI controllers, you'll be able to use it and play around with it like I do with Call of Duty. So keep that in mind, guys. This is not only a work device, this is definitely a leisure and consumption device. Now for the last few, I do want to do the top-down view for you guys to kind of show off a little bit more, so let's get right into that. So guys, the last few tweaks that I do want to show you are more software based, so I figured this would be a much better way to show it. And the first thing that I do want to touch on is the keyboard, right? So whenever you're on a website or anything that involves keyboard input, and this is with the virtual keyboard only. So this is if you're kind of chilling on the couch and you don't have a keyboard connected to it in any way and you're not at a desk, all you have to do, because especially with a 12.9, it's a little large when you're holding it. So if you pinch on the keyboard with 2 fingers, it gets smaller and you can move it around with this bottom bar down here that we're looking at. As you can see that I'm circling, you can just grab that and move it around. And then it just acts like a normal iPhone keyboard, right? So if I want to go to YouTube, just type it in. And it's a lot smaller and it's a lot easier to navigate instead of having to use 2 thumbs and holding it like a giant, like a giant tablet, especially in landscape mode. Another one that always irked me was the fact that for some reason, the iPad does not have a dedicated calculator application, right? So normally on an iPhone, all you have to do is drag down a control center, you find a little calculator icon down here somewhere, and then you use the calculator. But for the iPad, you can either download a separate application and put it in your widgets, which I did before, but now I take it off because I don't want my widgets to be so long. But another way to actually get into that is if you use Spotlight. So what you can do is if you just type in 5 plus 5, it gives you the outcome right there. And I'm not exactly sure how crazy you can get with it. So if you do 6 times 676, that gives you the answer right there. So I don't know how deep you can get into it with equations and things like that, but if you need a quick little math problem, a quick little addition problem that you need to get done, just go into Spotlight and get it done that way, guys. So that's pretty much going to do it for the software tweaks, guys. So let's jump back out of this top-down view. So that's going to do for this video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed and learned at least one new thing that your iPad can do that you didn't know it could do before. You know, the iPad has come a long, long way since its release in 2010, and even since the iPad Pro released in 2015, we've come a long way. And as you can see, now it's turned into what I would consider a laptop, a computer replacement, a laptop replacement, because I do everything on the iPad Pro that can get me from point A to point B. It's just a matter of how I get there. That's a little bit different than when using a Windows or Mac OS machine. And I'm going to dive into that in another video in the future, guys. But like I said, that's going to do it for this video. Comment below if there's anything that you guys learned from this one, or if this was just old recycled stuff. I definitely found a few cool ones. Some of them were a little bit older, but some of them are newer, and I just felt like people needed to know all of them, especially with the influx of people that are getting iPads at this point, and I love to see that. So thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Give me a follow on Twitter down here. I do like to collaborate with anybody. If you guys have questions, feel free to @ me or DM me with any questions, guys, and that's going to do it. So until next time, peace.